What's going on, y'all? This is WWE superstar Kofi Kingston, and you're listening to Wrestling Uncensored.
This is Santino Marella, and you're listening to Wrestling Uncensored.
This is Rob Van Dam. You're listening to Wrestling Uncensored.
Aw, yeah. Welcome to Wrestling Uncensored. I am Dave Simon. He is Johnny North. WrestlingUncensored.net is the website. Right here on TSN 690 every Saturday night, talking professional wrestling, talking about the WWE Hell in a Cell. Going down next week. Next Sunday, we're here. We're almost here. We're almost. One more week of Raw, one more week of SmackDown, and then we get Hell in a Cell. And a lot of these matches have been made official. We're really just kind of waiting, I guess, for this big show. We have, of course, Roman Reigns defending the WWE Universal Championship against Braun Strowman inside that Hell in a Cell. The SmackDown Hell in a Cell match will be Jeff Hardy versus Randy Orton. Charlotte Flair will defend her SmackDown Women's Championship against Becky Lynch. Ronda Rousey will be on this show defending her Raw Women's Championship against Alexa Bliss. The New Day will be defending their SmackDown Tag Team titles. Still waiting for an opponent for them. AJ Styles and Samoa Joe doing battle for the WWE Championship. And Daniel Bryan and his wife, Brie Bella, taking on The Miz and his wife, Maryse, in a tag team match. And that's what we have for Hell in a Cell. Johnny North, we had Raw and SmackDown this week. And they seem to be building a lot. Like, Hell in a Cell is something that they're doing, but they're also building the WWE Women's Evolution pay-per-view, which will be the all-women's pay-per-view in October. They're starting to trickle out some matches and promo for that. They're also building that Super Show in Australia, which is October the 6th in Melbourne. And they're doing promos for that. We saw Shawn Michaels come out, and that card is pretty well set. A lot of those matches getting announced this week, as a matter of fact, and they're building that. So it feels like Hell in a Cell is something that we're focused on, but not fully focused on. Like, they're really looking at that Super Show in Australia. They're also looking at that Women's Evolution show. It's weird for the WWE to be building 3 shows at the same time. Usually, WWE's product, Raw and SmackDown, is solely focused on one event, which would be Hell in a Cell, but it feels like Hell in a Cell is just a stop on the road to the Super Show in Australia.
Well, on Raw, the main event really right now is the Shield, right? And everything else is just extra. Like The Undertaker showing up on Raw, surprisingly. That's extra. I mean, it's a great extra, but it's really on the side. The main thing is the Shield and what's going on with the Shield.
Yeah.
I know you hate that, but that's the way it is on Raw.
Yeah, and that is the main thing that's going on Raw. The Shield. Against Braun Strowman and his new buddies, Dolph Ziggler and Drew McIntyre. And that's how Raw started off this week, with Braun Strowman cutting the promo in the ring there with Ziggler and McIntyre. Braun says he was never going to get the Universal title going against the Shield alone, so he had to join up with Dolph and Drew. And he doesn't care if the people like it or not, because he's in it for himself, because he's a heel and he doesn't like the people. Just in case you were wondering what was going on. Was Braun just defending himself? Was John aligning with Dolph and Drew for one night only? No. They're a team now, and Braun is doing it because he doesn't care about you. But you know who does care about you? Roman Reigns. He fights for you. You should cheer him. That's what the WWE's trying to do. Not really working out. And that's one of the main problems of Monday Night Raw, is that they keep trying to make Roman loved. And it's not working. We don't love you, Roman. The people just don't like him. And they're not going to cheer for him as if he is a conquering hero, no matter what the WWE tries to do. Yet, foolishly, they continue on down that path. They have their blinders on. They don't care what anybody's saying. They don't care what anybody else is doing in the wrestling world. They're just going to keep on down their path, whether you like it or not.
Kind of working, though, if he comes out with Rollins and Ambrose. Like, when they came out, crowd was popping.
Did they?
When they came through the crowd, yeah. People, I think, were really happy to see that brawl to start Raw.
Okay. So the Shield shows up to confront Dolph and Drew and Braun, and then Baron Corbin's like, hey, I'm the director of authority around here. I'm going to send out a bunch of the wrestlers to stop you guys from fighting each other. And it kind of works, but it doesn't really. They brawl for a while, and then the wrestlers separate them eventually. And I was not into that at all. I thought that was just another way to start Raw that I've seen so many times in the past. So many of these brawls now end up with whoever's in charge of the show sending out all the wrestlers to stop you from brawling. As a matter of fact, didn't we also see it on SmackDown this week? Or was that last week?
I think you're thinking last week.
Last week we saw it. Yeah, it happened last week on SmackDown with Becky and Charlotte. Becky and Charlotte were fighting each other, and then Paige shows up, and she's like, "Come on, everybody!" And then all the women had to go out and separate them. Like, it's so overdone that when you see it now, it's like, yeah, whatever. Who cares? It doesn't matter. It doesn't mean anything. It has no impact.
Well, with the women, it was weird and awkward because there's not a lot of them. With this, it's like you need pretty much almost the whole roster, and even that wasn't working to stop the two teams. So I felt like it had a much different feel where it felt like...
Just like the whole roster wasn't working to stop Brock Lesnar and Goldberg from fighting each other. Just like the whole roster didn't work when you had Brock Lesnar and Undertaker trying to fight each other. Just like the whole roster didn't work when you had John Cena and Roman Reigns trying to fight each other. I mean, how many times are you going to see the same shtick over and over again? It's the same thing. It's so repetitive. It has no meaning anymore. I don't need to see these brawls with everybody trying to separate them, and then they get each other, and then they're pulled apart, and then they get each other, and then they're pulled apart. It's like, who cares? It leads to nothing. It accomplishes nothing. And the heat that you're supposed to feel, you don't feel anymore because it's so overdone. It's like referees aren't good enough to stop them anymore. They used to just send refs, and then they, when the refs weren't enough, they'd send refs and a couple guys in suits, a couple of the agents backstage. And then when that wasn't good enough, then maybe they'd send the wrestlers out. But now, it's like, as soon as anybody might have a confrontation, here's the GM of Raw or SmackDown sending all the wrestlers out to separate these two warring people or factions or whatever it is because, they're going to tear the arena apart. And then the worst thing we could possibly have on a wrestling show is a fight between these two guys that hate each other.
Well, yeah, because they're supposed to wrestle at the Super Showdown in Australia. You're giving away the fight for free.
Oh, no, we can't deprive the people of Australia at the Super Showdown of having this incredible match. They have to see it first. It can't be on Raw right now. Just get it over with. Get it all over with. It's just bad, man. I cannot stand this stuff, this Braun Strowman with Drew and Dolph stuff. It is awful. I don't know what they're doing. Super Showdown, Roman Reigns, Braun Strowman next week for the Universal title. I couldn't care less about this stuff. It's awful. Sitting through Raw has become a chore. SmackDown is great. I love SmackDown. We'll talk about SmackDown in a bit. Daniel Bryan is the best. AJ Styles is excellent. I mean, gotta love SmackDown. Daniel Bryan wrestled Andrade Cien Almas on SmackDown this week. Again, how can you not love that? I was totally into that. Raw, I don't remember anything on Raw that I liked. I remember a lot of things on Raw that made me upset. A lot of things on Raw pissed me off this week.
Well, they had to establish Braun, Ziggler, and McIntyre as this powerful faction, right? If they're going against the Shield. So you needed something like that pull apart to show that they're an unstoppable force.
Did you?
Yeah, you did. And they needed to win the tag team titles.
Yes, that was good. That was a smart move on their part. Giving Drew and Dolph something. They are now the tag team champions. And that was another thing. You got the tag team titles out of that terrible loop of the B team and the Revival. Like, come on. The tag team titles meant nothing when those two teams were feuding over it. Nothing. The tag team titles didn't really mean much when the Deleters of Worlds were holding them either. Because it's just kind of a makeshift tag team between Matt Hardy and Bray Wyatt that you didn't really believe in. You didn't believe was long-term, and now it's over and no one cares. No one misses the Deleters of Worlds. No one's wondering where Bray Wyatt is. People are like, where's Matt Hardy? Matt Hardy's at home. Matt Hardy's resting some injuries. Who knows what Matt Hardy's doing? Bray Wyatt, he's sitting on the bench because nobody cares. Like, it was not a great move having the tag team titles with these teams for so long. And now, at least with Drew and Dolph, the tag team titles are going to be in the main event. Because Braun Strowman is with them, and Braun Strowman is in the main event of Raw, feuding with Roman Reigns. So at least Drew and Dolph have something now, and the tag team titles are elevated to a point where they mean something again on Raw. So that was good. That was one of the few highlights of Raw this week. The match was really nothing special. Drew and Dolph beating the B team to become the new champions. I wasn't a huge fan of the match, but the result was the right result.
Well, I like how it got set up, because usually you don't see that where a heel team will attack another heel team like that. That's kind of cool, and it just kind of goes to show, like, yeah, we were going in one direction, but no, we're just going to completely change direction here. Doesn't matter. Heels attack heels, and let's just go down this road.
Well, because they're the ultimate heels, right? They don't care.
That's it, and it got them over. And now, them against the Shield, Hell in a Cell, more than likely.
So it'll be Dolph and Drew defending the Raw Tag Team titles against Seth and Dean at Hell in a Cell.
That's if Rollins survived what happened at the end of Raw. Because I don't know if you noticed, like he took a beating.
I think he's all right. I haven't heard anything. Is he hurt?
Well, he got thrown into that ambulance. Or no, it was the police car, right?
And he was bleeding.
Yeah, from the arm, like all the way down.
Yeah.
And there's blood on like other wrestlers, and I'm guessing that was Seth Rollins' blood.
Okay.
As well, so... It's never, and if you notice, like, they're showing the beating they took at the end of Raw. Rollins is looking at his arm the whole time.
Was he?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what happened to Seth Rollins exactly, but I'm assuming he's going to keep wrestling.
Well, he got thrown into one of those, like, windows on the side of the police car.
Yeah.
And I don't think it was supposed to break, but it broke. And it caught him, I think, right in his arm.
So what can that be? Like, how bad can that be? Could be real bad, right? Could be like ligament damage, I guess, or
could be an infection or something. You never
who
know.
knows?
Yeah.
What happened to Goldberg that time when he smashed through the limo with his fist, smashed through the window of the limo?
That's because Brett was trying to get away from him.
Yeah, but Goldberg was like out for a really long time after that, wasn't he?
Well, he almost lost his finger. Because, again, the glass was not gimmicked.
Right.
But Goldberg was, like, so mad, I guess, about the whole situation that he decided to smash it until it actually broke.
Yeah.
But he cut his finger so bad that his finger almost, like, was lost.
But he didn't wrestle for quite a while after that, right? Like, he had some injury.
He had to let it heal because it always would bleed all the time.
Right.
So, yeah.
Yeah, well, who knows? It could be a serious deal with Seth Rollins. I haven't heard anything. We'll find out, I guess, on Raw. But I assume it'll be Seth and Dean against Drew and Dolph for the tag titles at Hell in a Cell. So the main event of Raw, you have Braun Strowman and Finn Balor wrestling. Braun beats Finn after a big power slam. Drew and Dolph then jump in the ring, start beating up on Finn. And then a police van backs into the arena for some reason. Now, the Shield had been arrested, right? I didn't mention that. The Shield got arrested backstage because they're a menace to society, and they can't be on Raw because they had this big brawl with Braun and his crew. So the Shield gets arrested. and you're getting updates during Raw like, oh, the Shield's getting charged with this, oh, the Shield's being processed, oh, the Shield's being released. And then, end of Raw, of course, the Shield shows up. I don't know how Roman Reigns is driving this police van.
He's cool.
Yeah, but did he steal it? And what about these charges that the Shield is facing? Are they going to face jail time? Like, well, what's the deal here? It really made no sense. They shouldn't say that they were charged with anything. It's just weird. Anyways, so Roman Reigns and the Shield steal a police van. Yet, if you notice, Roman was driving. Seth and Dean are in, like, the back of this van where they put the people they've arrested.
Right.
Why didn't Seth or Dean sit up front, passenger with Roman? Why is Roman driving the van and Seth and Dean are like in the back like his prisoners? It was a little bit weird. Whatever. It was for the entrance. It was for the effect. It doesn't really matter. It's just like nobody wants to sit up front with Roman?
Well, I think it's more to show that Roman's the guy, right?
Yeah, Roman's the guy. Seth and Dean are just his guys that he has in the back of a van.
Well,
I stole this police van and I got some guys with me.
And I think it just kind of looked cooler with them coming out the back, right? So
yeah, well, that's it. It's for effect. It's for the look.
yeah,
it was just like odd. I was like, why does Roman have the, like? It's not like when you get arrested and they release you from jail. They're like, here, take our van for the night. That doesn't happen.
Yeah, it leads you to believe that they stole it, I guess.
Yeah, it was weird. It was like, well, you get arrested, you don't show. I mean, it would have made sense had there been a cop driving,
Right.
and then Seth, Roman, and Dean all released from the back of the van like they were prisoners.
Right.
But no, Roman was driving the van. It was really weird. It was really weird. It made no sense. But whatever. So Roman stole a cop van, and then he showed up at the arena. And then the Shield goes to the ring. But before they can beat up Braun and Drew and Dolph, all these other guys show up. All these heels show up, including Jinder Mahal, the Authors of Pain, Drew Gulak for some reason. Did you notice Drew
I didn't
Gulak
notice
was
that.
there?
Wow.
Gulak was there. The Ascension, Mike Kanellis
Oh yeah, I noticed.
was
that, yeah.
there.
I noticed that.
And Elias and Kevin Owens.
Well, he knocked them down first, if I'm not mistaken.
Right.
Yeah.
So Kevin Owens is there, and then they all beat up on the Shield, and that's how Raw ends. Now, what upsets me most about all of this is that Kevin Owens is there just part of the pack. Just another one of the heels. Kevin Owens, in this segment, is on the same level as Drew Gulak and Mike Kanellis.
And the Authors of Pain.
Yeah, well, that's okay. They're getting a little pushky. They got a new manager this week. They got that guy, Drake Maverick, right? Rockstar Spud is their new manager. Did you notice when they came out, they all have the vests. They all are dressed exactly like the Shield. Like, they look like a just other Shield, a bigger Shield. They should just be part of the Shield.
Jake Maverick is still the GM of 205 Live as well.
Yeah, he's the GM of 205 Live, the Cruiserweight show, yet also the manager of Authors of Pain.
Well, he said on 205 what he does on Raw is his own business. He doesn't have to explain himself.
Okay, whatever.
That's WWE's way of dealing with that.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. So Kevin Owens is just part of the crew. Now, Kevin Owens had returned. He never left.
Well, we thought he left.
Last week, he has a match with
Seth Rollins.
Great match. Loses. In the ring, after the match, he says, I quit. Everybody's like, what's going on here? You quit? What do you mean? What's happening with Kevin Owens?
Right.
This week, Bobby Lashley is in the ring with Jinder Mahal doing some yoga and meditation for some reason, because that's Jinder's gimmick. He meditates with guys.
And Bobby apparently has anger issues. That's what Baron Corbin told him.
Right. So Kevin Owens attacks Bobby Lashley during this meditation session, which is, really counterproductive to the meditation. But so Owens hits Lashley with a powerbomb on the apron, like he does full-on beatdown of Bobby Lashley. And then he appears in the next segment as one of Braun Strowman, Dolph Ziggler, and Drew McIntyre's goons. He's not with them. He's not part of the group. He's just one of the heels like Mike Kanellis and the Ascension and Drew Gulak that they have enlisted to help them beat up the Shield. Kevin Owens is just one of the goons. Kevin Owens, to put it in Ninja Turtles terms, he's a foot soldier. He's not Krang. He's not Shredder. He's just one of the foot soldiers. And the Ninja Turtles, they beat up the foot soldiers, they toss them aside, and they're never heard or seen again. You understand what I'm saying, Johnny North?
I understand.
I don't know why Kevin Owens is a foot soldier from the Ninja Turtles, but you catch my drift.
No, but he's more than that, actually, because the foot soldiers were the ones that came on the beginning of Raw and just got beat up. Like, these ones were more advanced, like mutant, like foot soldiers. These were the top elite foot soldiers.
Like the
much.
rock guys.
Yeah.
The guys that were all made of rocks. You know what I'm talking about?
I know what you're talking about, but I don't know what they were called.
I don't know what they were called either. Nevertheless, it's not a great spot for Kevin Owens. It doesn't really make sense. Why did he quit last week only to come back and sneak attack Bobby Lashley this week? And then he's just like one of the guys in that other segment. I mean, whatever. Forget about that. What is the rationale of having him quit on the show last week, go through that, and then come back and just attack Bobby Lashley?
Well, it got people talking, right? And it made you wonder what is he going to do next. And it made it more of a surprise when he did attack Bobby Lashley because you weren't expecting to see him again. But now we can go down this route of him against Bobby Lashley at the next pay-per-view. It also makes sense because Bobby Lashley took out Sami Zayn, and now he can get revenge.
So Kevin Owens did mention last week on Raw, or a couple weeks ago, that he would have become Universal Champion had Sami Zayn been in his corner against Braun Strowman. He would have taken the Money in the Bank from him in that match at, what was the last pay-per-view? SummerSlam. He would have taken the Money in the Bank from him and then cashed in and won the Universal title had Sami Zayn been there to help him.
Right.
And then he has his match with Seth Rollins. He's by himself, and he loses. And then he says, I quit. Then he returns. He attacks Bobby Lashley, who took out Sami Zayn. So maybe Kevin Owens is, like you said, getting revenge on Bobby Lashley for taking out his friend Sami Zayn. Sami is injured right now. Hopefully he'll be back soon, but I haven't heard anything as far as when he's going to return. But maybe this is Kevin Owens getting revenge on Robert Lashley for what he did to Sami. And that does make sense. And he'll probably vocalize that on Raw coming up. And then we'll see Kevin Owens versus Bobby Lashley. The only issue I have with that is, isn't this kind of going to be like Sami Zayn against Bobby Lashley? Where, Sami may get some over on the promos. He may look good. And he may make Lashley look stupid. He may beat Lashley up on a show. But when it comes time for the match, when it comes time for the pay-per-view, Lashley's going to win. Lashley's going over. Strong.
I think it's going to be a bit more competitive because I think they knew Sami, he was going to be out for a while. So that's kind of why, he went over so strong, Bobby. I feel this is going to be more competitive. I could still see Bobby win, but I think Elias will also interfere, and it might just be a DQ finish.
So what is this, really? Is this what we want to see for Kevin Owens, who, again, and I say this every single week, is the top talent on Monday Night Raw? You have a thing where you say you quit, and then you come back then very next week and you start a feud with Bobby Lashley?
Well, he's going to be wrestling Bobby Lashley, Hell in a Cell, more than likely. He's already confirmed to wrestle him and John Cena at the Super Showdown.
Yes, it will be Kevin Owens and Elias against John Cena and Bobby Lashley at the Super Showdown on October the 6th in Australia.
So we're just building the story pretty much, which they've already kind of set in stone.
Yeah, I guess.
It's not a bad thing. I mean, to wrestle John Cena, there are worse things.
Yeah, no, for sure. It's a big match on that Super Show. But in the meantime, this Hell in a Cell thing, I don't know. I'm not that excited about seeing Kevin Owens and Bobby Lashley. Kevin Owens and John Cena, okay, that's a big deal, sure. But like Kevin Owens and Elias versus Bobby Lashley, I don't know. It's not really compelling.
Well, I think anytime you get Kevin Owens, it's going to be something special you should watch. And Bobby's pretty good. He showed you against Roman Reigns. He can pull out some good matches. I imagine with him and Kevin, it could be something really special.
We will see. We will see what happens there with Kevin Owens. Speaking of that Super Showdown in Australia, we had some matches made official for that one, including the Bella Twins with Ronda Rousey to take on Liv Morgan, Sarah Logan, and Ruby Riott, the Riott Squad. Now, in preparation for that, the Bella Twins wrestled Liv Morgan and Sarah Logan on Raw this week.
Oh, yeah. Oh, boy.
Brie Bella tried to do the Daniel Bryan dive to the outside of the ring. It did not go so well.
Twice.
She tried to do it again. It went even worse. Brie Bella should not be doing that. I think maybe she was able to do it at one point. Maybe she's not anymore. No. She's definitely not anymore because she tried it twice on Raw this week, and I was fearing for her safety because she landed on her head. I mean, she tried to dive out of the ring. She got tripped out on the ropes, and she just went boom down on the mat. That could have been a serious injury for Brie. Her sister Nikki's the one with all the neck injuries. If Brie's not careful, she's going to be next. That was rough to watch. The Bella Twins do not look like they're in ring shape. Nikki didn't look great either, but Brie, those two dives were very obviously bad and a sign that she is maybe not ready to do all the things that she wants to do or could do in the past, unfortunately.
Well, you're talking about the second dive. Now, the first dive, it looked like she was supposed to get hit, I think, maybe. And I think the other girl wasn't there for her, Sarah Logan.
Okay.
So she just kind of like half-assed the dive and just got stuck in the ropes there. That was, I think, even worse because that just made everything look bad.
That was not a good match.
No. Brie just looked just sloppy overall, like with a lot of her moves. Nikki, I think, was just simple what she did. I mean, she's never been that great of a wrestler, but it didn't stand out as badly as Brie did, where I think Brie is trying to be too much like Daniel Bryan. And
yeah, that's it. Brie tries to work like Bryan. Nikki tries to work like Cena. Way easier to work like Cena than it is to work like Bryan, right?
That's it. So that's a problem with Brie, but it was still entertaining to watch. No, let's see her screw up like that.
Look, I like the Bella Twins. I'm a fan, and I like to see them doing well, and that was not great.
Which the kicker, in my opinion, this was like, wow, I can't believe we saw this. Like after that match, then they go up to Ronda Rousey afterwards and ask her if she wants like training tips or something.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Who's writing this?
Ronda has to act like, yeah, sure. Hey, if you ever want somebody to help you train, Ronda, we're here for you. The Bella Twins. Ronda's like, yeah, that's cool. I got Natty. I'm good.
Well, because they're building towards that match, right? Because they're going to have a tag match together. Yeah. So, but after that, it's like, so bad.
Pretty bad.
I feel like they were just like making fun of the audience almost after that performance.
And Brie wasn't done, right? She was on Smackdown too. Big week for Brie.
Yeah, she's on every show.
Yeah.
A
lot of Brie. And I think she might have to wrestle again on Smackdown this week. That's what it feels like to me because they had that match with Bryan and Andrade Cien Almas, which was fantastic, by the way.
I felt it was going to be a mixed tag this week, but they did a singles, which is fine.
Brie attacked Zelina Vega a bit after the match, and I could see them doing Bryan and Almas, or Bryan and Brie against Almas and Zelina on SmackDown this week, but maybe not. Maybe after the match on Raw, they decided against it. Or maybe they were going to do it on SmackDown, but after the match on Raw, they decided against it.
I say might as well do it. I mean, you're going ahead with the Bellas wrestling.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think you got to give her as much practice as you can get.
Yeah, give it like a break, I guess, the past week, whatever. Let her breathe a bit, but yeah, like get back to it. Don't The longer you wait, I think the more it gets in your head, actually, that you can't do something.
Brie and Bryan coming up against Miz and Maurice. And then at that Australia Super Show, it'll be a big match. And I didn't know about this. Did you realize that it'll be Daniel Bryan versus The Miz on October 6th at that Australia Super Showdown?
Right.
And the winner becomes the number one contender for the WWE Championship.
Yeah, I know. That's why I feel like The Miz is going to win this, because as of right now, AJ Styles is still the champion. I feel like he's going to get past Hell in a Cell, and it's really just the Super Showdown. Can he get past Samoa Joe at the Super Showdown?
It does seem like he's going to get past Hell in a Cell, because it is advertised as AJ Styles defending the WWE Championship against Samoa Joe on October 6th at the Super Showdown. And that's kind of one of the downfalls of promoting several shows at once on TV, is that you're advertising results of the match you're trying to promote.
Well, you said it last week. It's not impossible that Joe could win, and he's just defending against AJ. It's not impossible.
Yeah.
But both
I
times,
expect some sort of screwy finish, though, at Hell in a Cell so that we can have it finalized at Super Showdown.
I'm starting to wonder if it will get finalized. Maybe this goes all the way to Survivor Series.
Wouldn't be the worst thing.
I feel like Nakamura, AJ won 4 pay-per-views.
Where's Nakamura?
Yeah, he doesn't really exist right now. There's no room for him right now.
He's the U.S. champion. He's one of the best guys on SmackDown. Where is he? He hasn't been on the show for, 2-3 weeks?
Because Jeff Hardy, Randy Orton, it does involve the U.S. title, and it's like the second or third biggest match on SmackDown.
Isn't it weird that Nakamura is not around, though?
Who's he going to feud with? Like R-Truth? I mean,
he's not booked for Hell in a Cell. He's not booked for Australia.
There's no challengers right now for him.
He's not booked.
I mean, Daniel Bryan makes sense eventually, but right now Daniel Bryan's busy with The Miz. So until that's done, I don't think you're going to see Nakamura.
They really have no baby faces.
No, they have baby faces, but like they've done R-Truth Nakamura already. I mean,
R-Truth, that's where you're going? That's where you're going?
Hey, man, he won the main event this week on SmackDown.
He did main event SmackDown and beat The Miz in the main event.
And he's got Carmelo with him now, too. Like, they're giving him a big push.
Is it truth time?
I think so.
Okay, we got to take a short pause here. When we come back, we will try and figure out if it really is truth time. I doubt that. And we're also going to talk about the Heartbreak Kid, Shawn Michaels. He was on Raw this week with The Undertaker. And big man Triple H is going to be on Raw again this week. We'll get to that when we come back. It is Wrestling Uncensored right here on TSN 690.
Hey, this is the Heartbreak Kid, Shawn Michaels, and you are listening to Wrestling Uncensored.
This is Curtis Axel, and you're listening to Wrestling Uncensored.
Hey, this is Emporio Cesaro, and you're listening to Wrestling Uncensored.
Oh, yeah. Welcome back. It is Wrestling Uncensored. I'm Dave Simon. He is Johnny North right here on TSN 690 every Saturday night talking professional wrestling. WWE Hell in a Cell going down next week. WWE Super Showdown in Australia, big show that they're promoting, goes down October 6th. And Shawn Michaels was on Raw to promote that event. Shawn Michaels really into himself on Raw this week, and I'm sure you were hating this, Johnny North. I know you are not a Shawn Michaels fan whatsoever. You are diehard Bret Hart till the end, and your resentment towards Shawn Michaels remains to this day. My resentment towards Shawn has faded, as I told him when I spoke with him a few years ago. He was on this very show, and I said, Shawn, I was at the screw job in 97. I was a diehard Bret Hart fan. I was like 12 years old, but, years have gone by, and you have redeemed yourself. And I love you as a pro wrestler, Shawn Michaels. And you, Johnny North, you do not feel the same way. You still hate Shawn Michaels. So when Shawn was in the ring this week, into himself, saying, hey, I'm Shawn Michaels. I'm the best. Give it up for me. I'm sure you were hating that.
He likes himself. I mean, that's fine. Whatever. It's cool. Like, you like your new T-shirt that you're trying to sell? Whatever, Shawn.
He doesn't understand the concept of the WWE Network. Did you catch that? Shawn Michaels doesn't know how the WWE Network works? He's like, you got to go. You got to sign up for the WWE Network. You buy the network. And then right there, you can get the Australia Super Showdown, and then you buy that, and then you could watch the Showdown. It's like, no, Sean. If you buy the network, you get everything. It's not like you subscribe, and then you have to buy individual things. It's not pay-per-view anymore, Sean. How do you not understand how the WWE Network works, Sean? It's been around for like 5 years. How long has the network been around for? Feels like forever. Maybe not 5 years. Has it?
It's close.
Yeah,
if it's not 5, it's close.
Like the network's been around for long enough, Shawn Michaels. You work for the WWE. You're on the network constantly because Triple H thinks you're the greatest thing that's ever hit professional wrestling. Could you please figure out how it works? Or at least figure out how to explain to people how it works? Because clearly the concept is not quite there with old HB Shizzle. Also, can you explain to Shawn Michaels what shizzle means? Because K, kid, wouldn't translate to shizzle. HB Shizzle translates to heartbreak shizzle. Yet he still calls himself that.
He still calls himself a kid, too. I mean, I'm sorry, Sean, you ain't a kid anymore.
Yeah, you're an old man. Who apparently, did you hear the rumor that he's coming back to wrestle in a tag team match in Saudi Arabia? Like, the rumor is Shawn is going to wrestle in November when they go back to Saudi Arabia, which, you know, the propaganda that they're pushing out for Saudi Arabia is disgusting, to be quite honest, what WWE has done there. And not only that, they're going to bring back Shawn Michaels to wrestle in a tag team match? I'm guessing with Triple H, right?
This is just speculation, right? Because The Undertaker kind of called him out this week, right?
There's a rumor that it's going to happen.
I think WWE wants that to happen, but nothing's set in stone, I think.
I think it's going to happen.
You really think on a live event that's not going to even air on the network?
It's airing on the network.
Is it?
The Saudi Arabia show? For sure it'll air on a network.
This November.
I thought so, no?
Because they have the annual Greatest Royal Rumble. It's going to happen every year, right? So we already had that.
Every year we're going to have to sit through one of those?
Next 10 years. We've talked about this.
Oh,
already.
my goodness.
You forgot about this already?
On the network every year, though?
Every year, 10 years, we get the Greatest Rumble.
Wow.
Maybe they'll change it, hopefully, but we're going to definitely like a pay-per-view there every year.
If we're going to get the Greatest Royal Rumble every year, I want them to now call the January Royal Rumble the worst Royal Rumble.
It was still actually fantastic this year.
Well, they're going to have to call it the worst, because if one's the greatest, what's the other one?
It has the women in the other one.
Don't be sexist now, John.
I'm not Saudi Arabia. There's questions there, but...
So Shawn Michaels talks about The Undertaker, and then The Undertaker shows up, and they talk to each other. They cut promos, and Shawn says, I chose to retire out of respect for you, and Undertaker says, you're just mad, and you think Triple H is going to beat me because I took your career from you, and all that stuff.
Well, he also said, is it respect or is it fear? That's why you don't want to come back and wrestle. That's what he kind of goaded him into a match.
Right. Taker said, are you scared, or is it... Because Shawn was like, I respect you, that's why I never came out of retirement. And Taker's like, what, are you scared?
Yeah.
What, do you have no balls? And you know when you say somebody's scared or they have no balls in a WWE, they must wrestle you, no matter what. That's a WWE rule.
Oh, they can't say they have no balls. If you say I have no balls, I have to give you whatever you want.
Remember that time when Roman Reigns was like, hey, Vince, give me a WWE title shot. Vince is like, no way. And he's like, oh, yeah? You have no balls. And Vince is like,
what? You doubt my balls? I will give you whatever you want. Here, take a WWE title shot.
It's like, what? That's all it takes? Hey, Vince, give me $1 billion.
No way, pal.
You have no balls.
Oh, take $1 billion. Take $2 billion. I'll show you how much ball. Grapefruits.
It's a very manly man, Vince.
He's a genetic jackhammer.
You're damn right I'm a manly man, Johnny North. More manly than you could ever be.
I'm sure Vince thinks that way. Either way, do you really believe Shawn Michaels will come back for a tag team match? That's the big comeback match for Shawn? I doubt this completely.
I don't know. I could see them doing him and Triple H against somebody. Taker and Kane.
him appearing.
That's a big match. Taker and Kane versus Shawn and Hunter.
Shawn appearing, which more than likely will happen in the Australian show.
Yeah, he said he's going to go to Australia to watch the match. So they're going to do an angle there to set up a tag team match.
I think
maybe Triple H will win, and he'll win because Shawn will cost Undertaker the match, setting up Kane to back up Undertaker in Saudi Arabia. Kane and Taker, the Brothers of Destruction, one last time against DX, Shawn and Hunter one last time. It makes sense. Why not? I mean, they're doing Triple H against The Undertaker again, and we're supposed to care, and it's going to main event this big show they're doing in Australia. They're putting these guys over all their other talent. They're showing you these guys that were popular 20 years ago are still more important than any of our current guys. Look how much TV time and promotion we're giving this one match between Triple H and Undertaker. These guys are more important than you, AJ Styles. Forget you, Samoa Joe. Even Roman Reigns. Triple H and Undertaker is what this show's still about.
Well, when you look at it, when people think about WWE, people that don't watch wrestling anymore, they know The Undertaker, they know Triple H, they don't know the AJ Styles, Samoa Joe. Who the hell are these guys? They'd probably say,
Yeah, well, maybe if they were promoted a little bit better, they would know them.
The problem is the characters, too. Just well-defined characters, established characters like that, The Undertaker. Mm-hmm. It's hard to make now because they don't make characters like that anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, back when Undertaker and Triple H and Shawn Michaels were wrestling, the WWE was good. And now,
it's longevity too, though.
Not so much anymore. I mean, think about all that's changed between the Undertaker's prime, the late 90s, and now. Just the way the WWE operates. The promos, for example, are all scripted now. They didn't used to be. They didn't used to be scripted promos. And you know what? The promos used to be better. When Steve Austin would go out there with a microphone, it was way more entertaining than Roman Reigns going out there with a microphone. I mean, let alone The Rock. The Rock would go out there, unscripted, live microphone. Anything might happen. You never knew what they might say. The show felt live. Commentary was way better. You had JR and the King back then. You had so much talent. Just the way the WWE operated was completely different. And now it is so structured. It is so corporate. It is so cookie cutter. How can you blame the talent for not breaking out and becoming bigger stars? You can't. It's not the talent's fault. It's the way the WWE is designed. It's a factory of wrestling. It's a corporate brand of wrestling that's very stale, very formulaic. They do the same things over and over and over and over again. It's not the talent's fault that they're not bigger stars. It's the company's fault. The things that the WWE used to do to make the stars that you remember, they don't do anymore. The company doesn't work the same as it used to. That's why they can't build great stars that people are attracted to, that they want to watch on a nightly basis. Household names.
So basically they've run out of new ideas, is what you're saying.
I'm saying their new ideas suck. They should have stuck with their old ideas. The team of writers, the scripted promos, the commentary that's just so stale. Everything is so stale. They're not doing anything outside the box. Everything is so ordinary in the WWE. They are in this mold that they're not breaking out of. That's the problem with the WWE. It's very bland. It doesn't feel live. There are no surprises. They try to push guys that the audience doesn't actually like. They give you what you don't want. And when you say, I don't want this, they say, shut up. You do want it. You don't want it? Stop watching. Oh, you're not going to stop watching, are you? No, because you're addicted to the brand that is WWE. You want to watch Raw, not because you want to see Roman Reigns, but because you have this idea in your mind that Monday Night Raw is a good show, or at least can be a good show. You remember when it was a good show, and you are hoping that one day it will be a good show again. But as time goes on and they continue every single week with Monday Night Raw, and I sit through these episodes of Raw, I realize, maybe it'll never be like it was. Maybe it'll never be good again.
Well, it has evolved, but that's because there's just so much programming now. I mean, back then when The Undertaker had first got his real run going, it was pretty much just Raw.
Yeah.
Now you have Raw and SmackDown. So, like, if you only watch Raw, you're not seeing all the talent. And there's a lot, and that's the problem. Like, it's hard for characters to get over where, you know, if you're not the main event, you're kind of an afterthought.
Yeah, but let's not act like the invention of SmackDown ruined the WWE. The fact that they have more TV time is not the main problem. The main problem is their talent assessment. Their main problem is not listening to their audience.
Well, they do and they don't. I mean, they have great talent, do they not? So obviously they listen, they went out and got this great talent. They stole a lot of this great talent.
They got great talent so that great talent couldn't be somewhere else making them look bad.
Well, AJ Styles is the WWE champion. I mean, they're using him to his full potential.
Is the WWE champion really that big of a deal right now?
Well, that's the problem. I mean, this is the problem, too, with SmackDown, where SmackDown's not really considered the main show because the WWE champion isn't even the main event.
He's not the main event on any of the pay-per-views because they're dual-brand pay-per-views, and when push comes to shove, Roman Reigns is always going to be booked above and stronger than AJ Styles. The Raw champion, Brock Lesnar, whoever it is going to be booked stronger than the SmackDown champion. And not only that, guys like Randy Orton on SmackDown are booked stronger and in better spots than AJ Styles, the WWE champion. Because he's Randy Orton, and WWE has this idea that Randy Orton is the greatest thing in pro wrestling.
Well, he's lasted so long. His longevity. People know who he is. More people know who Randy Orton is than AJ Styles.
Really?
Unfortunately, I believe, yeah.
I don't know about that. Maybe. You might be right. You might be right because of the RKO kind of out of nowhere going viral and stuff like that. You might have a point.
He was in movies. AJ has been in movies.
Can we say, though, that AJ Styles is more universally respected within pro wrestling?
Of course.
And that's the problem. I think that is the main problem with the WWE, is that the guys that are respected within the business more than others aren't given those spots over the others. Whereas, like, it's not performance-based in the WWE.
It's preference.
It's preference of, one man, pretty much. Vince McMahon. Whereas in pretty much every other wrestling company in the world today, every major wrestling company, you look at the Ring of Honors, the PWG, the New Japan, All In. It's a performance-based show. If you are main eventing those shows and you are not delivering, you better believe you will not be main eventing the next show. You have to deliver. You have to be a top-level talent to be pushed to the top level. And it used to be that way in the WWE, but somehow they lost their way. They have done it correctly in the past, where their best guy was the top guy and booked as the top guy. When Steve Austin was the top guy in like 1998, there was nobody better, nobody more on fire in the wrestling business than Steve Austin. When Hulk Hogan was a top guy in 1986, there was no guy bigger, more on fire in professional wrestling than Hulk Hogan. But somehow, it's not like that anymore. The WWE has had a lot of periods where they have done the right thing, they have put the right guys on top. But since really the acquisition of WCW, they have put whoever they feel should be on top. And whether you like it or not, they're going to keep going down that path because they're the top wrestling company in the world and there's nobody that can really stop them. But as the pressure builds from the wrestling world, when shows like All In are seen by more and more people, when more and more people are signing up online to New Japan World, when more people are watching Ring of Honor, the pressure is going to start to build again. And the WWE is going to have to respond. They're not responding yet, but when I sit through a 3-day period, where on a Saturday night, I can watch All In, which was one of the most incredible wrestling experiences, one of the greatest wrestling shows you'll ever see. And then on a Monday night, I'm sitting there watching Raw. Well, there's a real problem here. There's a real disconnect. And if you're a wrestling fan and you're like me, and I know a lot of you are, I know a lot of wrestling fans. I wasn't the only one who watched All In on Saturday night and then watched Raw on Monday. You can see the differences. You know what you prefer, and you know what pro wrestling can be outside of the WWE. And the more people that figure that out, the more pressure the WWE is going to have. And when their guys like Chris Jericho and Rey Mysterio are showing up at All In and different shows around the world, guys that are household names, guys that we know, Rey Mysterio, everybody knows Rey Mysterio, everybody knows Chris Jericho. When those guys are showing up at these other shows, bringing those WWE eyeballs away from the WWE and onto New Japan or All In or Ring of Honor or whatever, when those guys are showing up, all of a sudden, those WWE fans become fans of other wrestling. And then when they go back to the WWE, they say, come on, guys. We know we can do better. Let's do better.
You would hope, but it's a different landscape. I mean, there's the PG WWE, which is now, and All In felt more like the Attitude Era. A lot more extreme. And you get bits and pieces of that in WWE from time to time, but I don't think you'll ever see it on a week-to-week basis ever again. At least not anytime soon.
And the best we can do is stars from that era being brought back so you can see them every once in a while. Like Mick Foley, who'll be on Raw this coming Monday night to talk about 20 years since his Hell in a Cell match with The Undertaker. And he'll probably talk about Undertaker and Triple H and all that. And Triple H himself will be on Raw again to address The Undertaker. I don't know why. I don't know what he has to say that's new from 2 weeks ago when he was on the show. But, hey, he'll be there.
Well, he's there to beat up Mick Foley. That's what he used to always do, right?
So that's what he's going to do? He's going to attack Mick Foley?
Of course. To show that he's still the game and that he still has it.
Cool. Coming up Monday night on Raw, something to actually look forward to. Ronda Rousey will be in action, teaming with Natalya to take on Alexa Bliss and Alicia Fox.
I wish it was Mickie James. I got kind of excited when you started talking. Then you said Alicia Fox. I'm like, well, I lost a bit of excitement there, but all right, something.
Come on, man. Ronda's going to wrestle in her second ever Raw match.
Will she even get tagged in?
Yes.
All right.
She'll win the match for them.
Yeah, you would think. Yeah, I mean, in these cases, you could have her lose.
Natty could take the fall.
But
Mickie James could be on the outside, 3-on-2 type of deal, and she could cheat to win.
she hasn't lost yet, though. Is this the time to give her first loss? Because they count that as a loss if you lose in a tag.
Yeah, why not?
It'll be interesting for that fact. That's it.
Rusev Day will take on The Bar Tuesday night on SmackDown. The winner will face New Day for the tag titles at Hell in a Cell. I think The Bar will win.
I think so as well. I think it's cool what Rusev Day, they're getting somewhat of a push, but I feel like the Bar came up short in the last tournament they did for SummerSlam, so now they're going to get the title shot. Plus, I think they're wrestling New Day again next pay-per-view, so I just feel like this is an ongoing thing with New Day and the Bar.
Johnny North, when is your next match? When can people see you in the ring?
It's going to be next Sunday, which is the 16th of September, 2 p.m. bell time at Drew Onyx's Torture Chamber. I'm wrestling in a tag match, teaming with Don Belanger against Alex North and Spike.
Nice. So follow him on Twitter at North Genesis, on Instagram at Genesis Johnny North for more info on that. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram, same handle, at Dave Simon MMA. WrestlingUncensored.net is our website. Check us out on YouTube, Dave and Johnny Live, every Friday afternoon on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/ringsidereport.net, youtube.com/ringsidereport with the .net spelled out, DOTNET. Every Friday afternoon, Johnny and I go live on YouTube. All the shows, Ringside Report Radio and Wrestling Uncensored, also available on our YouTube channel. For more info on that, go to WrestlingUncensored.net, the online home for Wrestling Uncensored. You can download this show on our iTunes feed. We're podcasted everywhere you get your podcasts, Google Play, iTunes, YouTube, RingsideReport.net, WrestlingUncensored.net. We're everywhere, all over. Don't miss it. I want to thank Jimmy and Marco for helping us out back at TSN 690. Yeah, 690? Yeah.
I believe so.
And a big thanks to you for listening. For Johnny North, I am Dave Simon, and this has been Wrestling Uncensored. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.